Hello and welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have got a brand new ant colony, and this species we've wanted for a long time. We got this colony from the ant lady. It is a 5-queen colony, and if you haven't seen the title and thumbnail already, you know what it is. It is the yellow crazy ants, and we have both wanted these ants for so long now, and we finally got them, so we're proper happy about it. They weren't in stock for so long, but then we saw them come in stock in the ant lady, so we had to pick them up as fast as we can. And as I mentioned, it is a big colony. There's lots of workers and lots of queens. So let's get into the unboxing and let's have a look. So let's have a look at this awesome ant colony. So we're taking off the little dark cover that they have on, and you can see there's absolutely loads of them. I think there's about 75 to 100 in here. I couldn't remember because I ordered it. It's probably been with us for a few weeks now, but there is 5 queens and a ton of workers, and they're definitely getting too big for this test tube, especially because they do spray formic acid, so you don't want to keep them in there for too long. But if you look really carefully, you can see a little bug in the test tube with them. We found out there's 3 of them bugs, and they're little clean-up crews, and they're really cool, and it's a really good addition because they don't have to pay anything extra for them, but they'll keep the nest nice and clean when they go into the new nest, and they look really good. And you can see the ants are really big, and they've definitely been fed well by the ant lady because the gases are huge. But let's have a look what nest we are going to put these yellow crazy ants in. And we were thinking for a while because we weren't sure what nest to put them in, but we ended up going with the Wakooshi S5 nest module, which you can see here. And we were happy we went for this, but the colony was a little bit too small for this size of a nest at the moment. But they'll grow rapidly, especially with 5 queens all laying. And yeah, the queens are definitely going to boost this population. We do eventually plan to put this whole colony into a big aquarium setup like Mr. Antkinder's are, and similar to Antkinder's yellow crazy ants, because he also has some yellow crazy ants, and he did inspire us to get them ourselves. And we do plan to put them in about a 6 to 7 foot full-on tank with loads of all natural planting in when the colony is big enough in the future. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe for that. So as you can see, this S5 nest is proper cool. We didn't end up filming a review on it, but we will do a review on it eventually when we get it again for another colony, because the nest was awesome. As you can see, there's a feeding chamber. There's also a little hole in the nest that you can see in the top left of the screen now, and that is where the water tube plugs in. As you can see, it is in now, and you fill that up with water, and the ants can go from underneath and feed on it. You can put sugar water in or no water in, but you can see us attaching a module here, and it is a 3-way module. So this is so we can add more nests in the future, and then we don't need to worry about adding it in the future when there's tons of ants in there. And we can also add sugar water into this while the ants don't have, and because they've only got 1 water source in here, and they also need sugar water. But we are hydrating the nest now because you want to hydrate your nest well before you have ants in it. But yeah, so let's have a good look around the nest and check it out, and we'll get ready to put the ants in it. Right, so we added a test tube adapter that you can buy from Wakooshi's website and connect it up, so it's going to be nice and easy for us to get our ants in. So as you can see, here are our yellow crazy ants in their test tube. We've left them in the dark for a few weeks now, so we haven't seen them in a while ourselves. But when we open up, you'll see how many workers there are, and there is absolutely tons. But one of the ants were hanging onto the cotton, and what I like about the feeding chamber that this nest has, you can just knock it off into the feeding chamber, but then it got out again for the 2nd time, so I ended up just leaving the cotton wool in there and letting him come off itself. And for some reason, every single ant were all huddled up all by the water. They must have liked the moisture of it. But yeah, there's absolutely loads in there, but a few ants went out and explored the nest. And after that one went out and explored it, it left pheromones everywhere saying, "Everyone come look, I found an awesome new place to live." So then a lot more ants came and explored the nest, and they were absolutely loving it. Put a bit of a Wakooshi jelly that we got with the nest, we put a bit, just like a little slither of the jelly from a jelly cup, and put it in to the yellow crazy ants, and they absolutely loved it. As you can see, they were drinking it all up. And here is one of the beetles that I was on about earlier, and even one of the beetles were loving the new nest, exploring. The camera won't focus on him, but as you can see, there's a cool stripe around it. If you know what species of beetle this is, well, whatever it is, I don't even think it's a beetle, but it looks like a beetle. But if you know what species it is, please tell me. But as you can see here, the yellow crazy ants were absolutely loving that jelly, and so I just left them to it for a bit, put the red cover on, and hopefully some of the queens move in soon. And here you can see one of the queens did actually move in, and it was loving it. It looked like it anyway, but there was still quite a few left in the test tube, but soon after everyone moved out. And while you can see these ants giving trophallaxis to each other, which is how ants share their food by eating food, putting it in the social stomach, and then sharing it with each other, I'm just going to tell you about our little project that we've been working on behind the scenes. So we've been working on our own ant store where we'll be selling live ants, and eventually, hint hint, nudge nudge, maybe some of our own nests coming in the next couple of months. But everything's in testing at the moment, we're all testing everything. But we have got some Lactose Nitrogen queens on there at the moment, and we will have some more queens on in the next week. So make sure you head over to it, check it out. If you're joining the new ant hobby and you want to join the ant hobby, make sure you stay around and check out the ant store because it's doing mint. And we are planning to get more products on there, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll mention it more in videos. If anything new comes on the store, we'll make sure to mention it and tell you about it. But we are working on loads of product behind the scenes, and it's going really well, so make sure you stay tuned for it. But as you saw, all them ants were loving that jelly, and you can see one of the queens here, and one of the workers came and was feeding the queen. But the rest of the queens were all huddled up in a corner, and it seemed like they were liking it. And we did drop a mealworm in for the ants a few days later after they've settled in. But this is the only annoying thing about the food door. You open it if you've got quite a lot of ants in there. One escaped, so there is one that's escaped, but now I need to scoop it up, but then I need to open the door again so more might escape. But eventually I did get it back in. But here you can see they are very interested in the mealworm. We did pre-crush the mealworm, but it does still move slightly sometimes, but it is dead. So you can see they're still working on the jelly. They eventually finished all of that jelly and got rid of every last drop of it, and they eventually took the mealworm back into the nest and ate most of that as well. But these yellow crazy ants absolutely loved this protein jelly, and they just absolutely demolished it. It was gone within a day or two, but for the size of the colony and how big the chunk of jelly was, they absolutely demolished it. But you can see 3 ants here doing trophallaxis, and this will be the end of the introduction to the yellow crazy ant. But make sure you stay tuned. If you really like yellow crazy ants, we will be doing updates on them, and we'll also be doing updates on all our other ants very soon as well, and we'll keep you updated with our ant store and what's happening on there. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you check out our ant store. Also check us out on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching.